All right, we've done a couple videos on this player, and he continues to look good. So all the videos leading up to this point, I don't feel bad about doing another video on him because all the videos up to him at this point were hope. They were speculation. They were hope that as camp started, that Lad McConkey would be a baller for this team and for the Chargers. Day 1, he was a baller of training camp. Day 2, he was a baller. Day 3, had more of a rookie day. And day 4, he was back up, and it was by far his best day yet. We're going to talk about why this is good, and then we're going to talk about something completely different. It is a new theme that I want you to get used to as Chargers fans on Jim Harbaugh. Remember, Jim Harbaugh, we followed that man. We are out of Michigan. That's why you see the Lions jersey up there, because we are Lions fans. But we live in Michigan. We love the Wolverines, and we wanted to follow Harbaugh to the West Coast. All right, so let's talk about Lad McConkey's day. Lad McConkey was absolutely on fire in day 4 of training camp, getting some big cheers from the crowd that was on hand. And it says that on Saturday, he and Herbert rediscovered a rhythm. Now, there are a couple videos that are floating out there. Can't show them on here thanks to copyright and all that fun stuff. The NFL will tell me I'm not allowed to. But there was one throw where Herbert threw against his body deep into the back of the end zone. Lad McConkey was coming across. You had a safety dipping back. You had he had created separation from the corner that was guarding him. The throw was behind him. It was extremely dangerous. Okay, it probably should have been picked or tipped. It wasn't. Lad McConkey reaches back as he's moving to his left. As he's moving, I guess he's moving across the field. He reaches back to his left and makes an unbelievable catch. The reason I love this highlight so much, and I mean that, the reason I love this highlight so much is because it's not Justin Herbert throwing him open. See, Justin Herbert can throw people open. We've seen him do it year after year after year. Keenan Allen's the guy who got open for him, and he just had to get it to him. Mike Williams was the guy who often was not getting that much separation. I'm not saying Mike Williams couldn't get separation. Don't troll me on this, all right? Everybody don't come up into the comments and be like, what are you talking about? You don't watch Charger football. Mike Williams can get separation. I know he can. His average separation, not good. He's never been a guy who he used his big body to go up and get the ball, to box people out, basketball term, right, and to shield people from getting the ball. That's what Mike Williams did well. Keenan Allen was the guy who created separation. The reason I love this, you see me just go on that tangent there for a while. The reason I love this highlight, the reason that I love this play is because he was not thrown open by Herbert, but instead made a bad throw by Herbert look good. And that is what you're wondering if this receiving core can do. All right, Jasir Taylor was on the coverage. Alohi Gilman was the safety floating back deep. The coverage was tight. Herbert had to roll out to the left to buy time. Like I said, he's rolling left. He's throwing across his body. McConkey's catching it across his body. There's tight coverage, and yet it's a touchdown. These are the things that you have to be able to do to be a winning team in the NFL. And we know that there's receivers that will be good enough that if Herbert's right arm can be talented enough to get them open or throw them open, they will. But what about the receivers? Can they make catches and make Herbert look good even when he's not? Because that's what Mike Williams did. All right, at times that's what Palmer has done, and I think Palmer will continue to do that. All right, Jim Harbaugh went off to talk about McConkey, and he said the following. He said he's been off to a really good start. All right, really, really excellent route runner. We knew that. And he's been really good, really dialed in right from the beginning. Just how quick he gets up to full speed. I don't know how many steps it is, but it's pretty fast, pretty quick. 3, 5, 6 steps, and he's up to full speed. All right, later in this article, it had the question. It said, with this receiver group, who can Herbert rely on to win consistently both against man and zone in key situations? In previous seasons, we know who that was, right? It was Keenan Allen. But who is it now? I'm telling you, it's going to be Lad McConkey. All right, in other news, there was an injury, a possible injury to left tackle Rashawn Slater. He left practice on Friday. This is interesting with an injury. He was not on the field for Saturday's practice. On Friday, he walks off the field into the facility with trainers. He came back out onto the field briefly with his helmet on. He chatted with the Chargers director of player health, all right, Marco Zucconi, all right. I don't know how you say it, let's be honest, all right. And then he went back inside. So they decided to take him out, all right. Harbaugh and GM Joe Ortiz both walked over to the director of player health, all right. The three talked for the remainder of the period. This is interesting. So Harbaugh gets a question on Saturday. Of course he does. He asked for an update on Slater. And here's what he said. We are ramping the starters up. It was clear, very clear, that Slater sustained an injury of some sort. All right? So naturally, if a reporter's doing their job, they're going to say, all right, what was it? Like, what's the reason he's out? Was there an injury? And Jim Harbaugh said, I'm not going to categorize what it is or what it is not. You're going to see quite a bit of that as we go through this first stage. That's it. All right? So maybe the plan was for Slater to leave Friday's practice early. I don't know. And to also sit out Saturday's practice. I don't know. All right? Harbaugh said, hey, I got something here. I want to keep playing, but I need you to take a look at it. Harbaugh said of Slater, no, we're going to take you out and move you into the weight room and do some work there. All right. Harbaugh also added, it's an abundance of caution. I know that you haven't heard that term since the pandemic, but it applies to this stage we're in right now. Asked to share what Slater's injury is. He said, no. Just working through something. That's all he said. All right. Then they asked about tight end Donald Parham Jr., who also did not practice Saturday. Jim Harbaugh, he's working through something. He's working through something. He's working through something. Running back Gus Edwards has yet to participate. He's working through something. Get used to it. This is the new theme in Chargers football. Be used to being completely in the dark to the point where you're wondering if it's NFL compliant. Like, it gives them no strategic advantage to hide injuries in week 1 of training camp. But Jim Harbaugh's going to do it. Because in Jim Harbaugh's extremely competitive mind, it gives them some type of strategic advantage. That's what you're going to have. Get used to being in the dark. It's going to be nasty when it's talking about fantasy football. Luckily, there's not a ton of players who are going to be playing on fantasy football this year. Maybe there are. All right. But the whole idea is not necessarily deception. Just, I don't need to tell you everything. So I'm not going to tell you everything. Very interesting to see. That's always been Harbaugh. Very close to the vest. All right, that's actually what got him in trouble a little bit in college, too, with some of those suspensions, is he just refused to talk about it. Not even that what he did was that wrong. He just refused to talk about it. He doesn't want to talk about it. Very interesting. All right, thanks for watching. More Chargers news every single day. Keep watching. We'll see you on the next one.